Fun starts here on set. I want to bring in my great pal, Brian Kilmeade, Fox and Friends co-host. Brian, thank you very much, as always.
I would have paid a fee for that monologue. To get it up close and personal was fantastic. I got the theme too, Kill the Bill.
Yeah, look, I don't think they understand, they being Democrats, Democratic leaders, how serious Manchin is, and he's assisted by cinema. I mean, he laid down the law. I don't know if you read his memo the other night.
One-pager, picked it right up, got it. Very deliberate.
Yeah. Now, they've got to figure this out. Now, my question to you is, do you think that this group, the socialist group or the progressive left group, understands this new reality?
No, and did you see the way Congresswoman Cortez said, $1 trillion, yeah, maybe for 3 months. Does she have an idea how much $1 trillion is? Now, I mean, it'd be different if she's 60 years old and has done a bunch of budgets, OMB director for a while, and maybe for $1 trillion, that's more real than her. But for her to say, how are we supposed to call this a bill with $1 trillion? And as nobody knows better than you, when the economy collapsed in 2008, $800 billion was a hard sell to the American people.
That's right.
So this is unbelievable that we're at this point. I was heartened to see Joe Manchin, and here's why. And call me gullible. It was like the old days. It's like, I am a Democrat, but I'm not a liberal. Why do you think I'd do anything different? Actually, someone not running from the label moderate. And then we find out he actually put this in writing in August. My top number is 1.5. The question is, can you take 2 victories? You know how easy it is to spin in Washington. You get the 1.2 bipartisan, you get the 1.5. You could sell that as, we're making our policies work.
Well, he is a blue dog Democrat. He's a throwback. Blue dog Democrats, yellow dog Democrats, they were sometimes called in the 80s and 90s. Boll weevil Democrats, they were sometimes called. When I was working for Ronald Reagan, Reagan's whole program, bigger defense spending and cutting taxes and spending, he won that in the Democratic House with the help of blue dog Democrats. Manchin may be the last one. But I want to ask you this. Do you think anybody will come out of the woodwork in the Democratic Party, elected officials, and support Manchin? Because his position on strict limits to spending with work requirements, for example, and his concerns about inflation and government spending, to me are common sense. Anybody can understand that and support it, including myself.
Couple of things. He also is very respectful of the energy sector, hence he's West Virginia coal. But he understands that coal's got issues when it comes to the environment, but that's not where it stops with West Virginia. He also looks at Senator Byrd, I understand, as a mentor. And he said, I'm in a seat. Byrd used to like to make deals, and he cared about the process. So I think he feels an allegiance to that. I do, and here's what I think happening. Sinema comes out and says, yeah, I'm from a purple state. It used to be red. Might technically still be red. I'm going to do this. And she's tougher than anyone thought. My bigger question is, where's Mark Kelly? This guy's up in a year in a purple state. There's a lot of people who believe that's still a Republican state. You know, John McCain had that seat. So if Mark Kelly wants to keep that, is he making it easier for Republicans to take him out because his silence says he's complicit with the AOCs in the squad?
I am surprised. I think that's a really good point. I am surprised that he's gotten a free pass.
Where is he?
No one's really focused on him. You're quite right.
And how about the military background with the collapse of Afghanistan? A chance to show that he cares about the country more than he does his party. Who will come out and support him? Here's the question. Will the left wing of the party, will the squad and company say, all right, I understand where you're up against Nancy Pelosi. I am going to put my agenda aside and vote for the 1.2 to not destroy the Biden presidency, because right now I understand there's 23 Democrats who are a hard no. There are Republicans that were a hard yes for the 1.2. We'll see if they back out if the reconciliation package is just around the bend.
But no way will the reconciliation package be merged with the infrastructure package, because the reconciliation part of the package is dead. It's been killed. That's the point I'm making. You can't have this combined deal that Bernie Sanders is talking about, or AOC, or any of them, because the other part of the deal, the budget resolution, is dead. Manchin just killed it. I like that. I'm all for it. Kill the bill. In fact, kill all the bills.
I've seen the promos during the day. I've seen the Larry Kudlow promos.
I got other fish to fry. Not necessarily bigger fish. There's a fabulous story out America's public schools and its education leaders are under an immediate threat. The National School Boards Association. National School Boards Association. So they're writing to President Biden, and they want to invoke the Patriot Act. They want parents who get involved in the schools to be regarded as domestic terrorists and hate crime people, because the parents are fighting critical race theory and all this crazy cultural stuff going on in schools, even K through 12. You may have seen former Governor Terry McAuliffe of Virginia, who is running for governor again this time. He said the other day in a debate against Glenn Youngkin,
parents should have no role.
Right, parents have no role. And so now NSBA, that's the School Board Association, believes that parents who are trying to get a seat at the table are domestic terrorists. What do you think about that, domestic
Couple of things.
terrorists?
You and I agree, it doesn't matter what your point is, I don't want to see the violence, and that isn't. But most of the violence is the parents being wrestled to the ground by security. I don't see threats. They feel as though the school board is threatening to the parents, where if you look at this, the parents are up there and they're emotional. They care. You ever talk to a parent about their kid? Immediately, I don't care who it is or who the kid is, you see some emotion. But what are they protesting? Masks? Joe Biden wants to hear nothing about that. What are they protesting? CRT? Joe Biden wants CRT. What else are they protesting? The vaccine. Joe Biden firmly in the vaccine. And I ask you this because there's so little trust with this administration specifically. Are they really concerned about security? Are they concerned about the messaging that these parents are all bringing around the country? Do you really think Donald Trump's behind Loudoun County in North Carolina, in all across this country in Montana? These people are acting organically. They don't tap into a political organization. They see a problem with their kids. They watch the kids do their Zoom instruction and say, "You're learning what? I overheard your teacher on your laptop." Is that really the curriculum? And if there's anything good that came out of this pandemic, is parents were hands-on when it came to the education.
They got to watch the Zoom and saw what they were being spoon-fed.
And they
the real issue here is the teachers' unions don't want the parents involved.
None.
That's the real issue.
I think you're 100% right, and I don't think they like the exposure, and I don't think they like to be called on the clock. That doesn't put down teachers, many of which we could name. I don't know anybody who can't name their first through sixth grade teachers, but I think the curriculum, you should be open and willing to defend it, and I think this is part of not wanting to defend it.
Okay, got my last one, News of the Week in Review. This is big. I think this could be my totally favorite story.
Really?
The Biden administration has appointed a woman to be comptroller of the currency, which oversees and regulates all the national
Actually, I didn't know that
banks.
existed, by the way.
It's actually a big job, controller of the currency, who is from the Soviet Union. She has her degree from Moscow State University. She went to Moscow State University to college on a Lenin scholarship.
Why wouldn't she?
And just to top it off, she hates banks and wants to completely transform the banking system so private banks are extinct. This is a Biden appointee. What do you think of that?
I thought this was an episode of Impractical Jokers, which is seen.
This is a true story.
It's
Moscow
Impractical
State
Jokers is on True
University.
TV. So it's unbelievable. The Lenin Scholarship, and she probably got a Brezhnev Pell Grant, and to go over there so she didn't have to pay anything out of her pocket. So she actually believes the Soviet system was the superior system.
Yes.
And she says, forget about equal pay between men and women.
No
I'm
gender.
horrified by this because the government and the state actually decided what you got to be paid. So you're right. She went to Cornell and became a teacher, and now she's the best person to be handling our currency. By the way, thinks communism pretty cool. If you're a Democrat, like Joe Manchin got rid of a few nominations.
Wait, what did you just say? Thinks communism is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
She basically
got a bad rap.
Yeah,
it's got a bad rap just because the whole collapse went bankrupt and spent all the money on defense.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No freedoms.
And jail dissidents, right?
So she's going to run. She's going to be the
Our
chief
currency.
regulator for all of the banks, the big national banks. That's her mission. And she hates banks, and she wants the Federal Reserve government to take over all the banks and the deposits and the loans and the credit. Everything.
You know a lot of business people. You've done interviews before. How did that interview go? Like, listen, so you don't like banks, you love the Soviet Union, you went to Moscow University. I think it'd be perfect for the #1 capitalist country in the world. I think it'd be perfect.
She has to come in and sit. Presumably, she met with the president in the Oval, because this is a big appointment. So I can see, looking at his resume, Moscow State University, the prestigious Lenin Scholarship.
Well, they got a great field hockey team, and they let men play, so that's pretty good. Overseas, I don't know why they don't let men play here. We should make that as a cause.
Is this the pièce de la résistance? This is the embodiment of the Biden problem.
Right.
The Biden problem.
Listen, I don't know what to say. I actually thought I was reading something from The Onion or the Babylon Bee. But if this woman gets through Saul Omarosa, which, by the way, anyone named Omarosa should take at least 4 years off from the White House. The first Omarosa didn't do too well. I would think I'd go to the backup.
That was the Republican Omarosa.
I forgot.
Because we're very bipartisan.
Who was very good on The Apprentice and ruthless.
Here's a picture, Saul
There she is.
Omarova. Moscow State
The proud of
University.
Moscow State. Fantastic. Can't wait for her reunion.
I got to get out of here. Wait a second.
Next.
I wanted to, I haven't had a chance to promo everything he's going to do. Come on.
Right.
First of all, on the show, Brian Kelly of Florida Georgia Line, Mike Mulvaney, Mark Short, all pals of mine.
Coming up at 7 o'clock on primetime.
There you go. 2nd November 7th, Charleston, West Virginia. Then there's November 21st in Orlando, December 3rd in Ponte Vedra, Florida, December 4th in Clearwater, and May 21st in Asbury Park, New Jersey. I grew up in Deal, New Jersey, on the seashore during the summer. And Brian Kilmeade, the best of the best, who tried to get a Lenin Scholarship, and they just denied it.
Yeah, it's
a
all who you
horrible
know.
thing.
It comes with 4 years in the gulag if you get anything wrong. Right?